Uh, and today we will talk about optimizing workforce management in the hybrid era. And I have four speakers actually, but one speaker will come late. So let me introduce one by one of our speakers. I have here Elias Kanaris, Chairman of Contact Center Network New Zealand. Welcome, Elias.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. You want to introduce yourself first? Go ahead.
Fantastic. Yes, Elias Kanaris. I'm actually the Chief Executive Officer for Contact Center Network New Zealand, which is the equivalent association to ICCA. And we are, I've actually got nearly 30 years experience within the contact center industry and happy to be part of the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Elias. And the second speaker I have here, Thilagavathy, Executive Committee Member of Contact Center Association of Malaysia. Welcome. Tila, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. My name is Tila and I'm with Contact Center Association of Malaysia. Thank you very much for inviting us here today. Pleased to be here.
Thank you, Tila. Tila is also coming from a BPO contact center, right? So it's nice to discuss about this topic. And we have also speaker Nadia Younan, Workforce Optimization Solution Manager Asia Pacific from NICE. You want to introduce yourself, Nadia? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Andy. So my name's Nadia. I'm based in Sydney, Australia. I'm currently working for NICE, looking after the workforce management solution for Asia Pacific. I've been in and around contact centers since I was about 19 years old and started out as an agent for about 7 years and then got into workforce management and have been in workforce management in some way, shape or form ever since then. Like the others, super happy to be here with you today and look forward to a really engaging discussion on all things WFM. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, Nadia. And another speaker will join later. Jazz Hanley, panel lead for APG Work People. Yeah. Okay. Today we will discuss about workforce management, and we'll ask a question to the panelists today. Hopefully, all the participants can also ask question using a chat or raise hand if you have any question. I will give you the opportunity later to ask question directly to the speaker. And let's start with the first discussion today. Of course, yeah, we understand about the hybrid condition when people working in hybrid model. So I want to ask first to maybe to Elias, yeah, regarding this. What is opportunity about this in global opportunity about this workforce management of hybrid models? Go ahead, Elias.
Thank you, Andy. So that's a great question to kick us off with. So first of all, let us understand that we are seeing a significant change in the way that contact centers are operating. I was on a webinar with Nadia earlier on this week, and she made the very salient observation that we used to call these call centers. Now we call them contact centers. And there's a reason. Because the number of voice-based calls are reducing. In fact, we just released some research from New Zealand that's indicated what's happening within the contact centers, and 53%, over half of the respondents said they're seeing fewer voice calls coming through. So we know that people are now, especially with the generational change, younger people prefer to use technology, a web chat, SMS, or some sort of bot that they can interact with to have the conversation. But we have to then understand, how do we create a good working environment for them to make sure we have enough people at the right time across the right channels. And the good news is we have some great other panelists who got some good experience in this to help us address this. And whilst we turn around and say that voice calls are reducing, maybe we need to think about first contact resolution. Can we resolve the conversation, whichever channel it's on, quickly and the first time? Otherwise, we have to plan for more people to come on to take the follow-up call, which costs us and the customer a lot more.
I see. So in New Zealand now is many of contact center now shifting from call to another channel. Yeah.
Absolutely. Almost every contact center is a hybrid contact center. Very few, less than 10%, are still voice only.
Oh, okay. Only 10%. Okay. Let me move to Malaysia. Yeah, I have Tila here to explain about the condition in Malaysia because Tila coming from BPO as well. So what is the opportunity about this migration at hybrid models? Go ahead.
Hybrid model. So, yeah. So if you'd asked me a few years pre-COVID, can contact centers operate from home? And I would have been the first one to raise my hand and say, no, there's security issues. You cannot get people working from home. You will not have the productivity. You won't have that efficiency. People will slack off. But of course, COVID has forced me to become a convert. And now I embrace that, and I see how efficient that is, how impressive it is. We've got the technology to manage all of that. Because Malaysia now, we've always been a multilingual workforce, and we can expand, that 24/7 support. And we are also able.
Oh, Slap. Hello, Alia.
Yeah, I think
Okay, Tila is
Dr.
left.
Ash is back. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's fine. I move to Nadia. Yeah, Nadia, you want to add on? Yeah, about this
Yes.
global issue regarding this because you are coming from technology aspect. It's maybe you have many information regarding that. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Andy. So the hybrid model, I think, offers some really great opportunities to us in workforce management because we are able to look at a spread of shifts that alleviates the employee from having to factor in things like the commute, time to get to work. It absolves us from having to maybe stay with 8-hour shifts, for example. We can look at shorter shift segments. So it introduces another level of flexibility into our scheduling process, and it can allow the organizations to become really creative with some of the shifts that they're offering to workers. And this can really boost employee engagement, employee satisfaction, and retention. I think it's interesting, though, because a lot of organizations clearly have invested a lot of money in offices. They're paying commercial real estates and leases and things like that. So there definitely, I think there is a momentum from the business side of things to get employees back into the office, whereas the employees themselves are possibly very resistant to that. Literally just on the news, and about 20 minutes ago, a very large financial institution in Australia made the news because their work from home mandates were so heavy-handed. Like, we must be able to contact you 24/7. We must be able to monitor all aspects of what you're doing when you're at home. And they gave those employees about a week to sign that contract, and it's gone down so badly that they've handled it so badly it's made the national news. So I think we have an opportunity in WFM to get extra flexibility to maybe entice other employees who weren't considering work like, single parents, mothers, maybe some of the older workforce, it's more convenient for them to work from home. But I think it's at a bit of a crossroads between what businesses want versus what the employees want. I really don't believe the productivity thing that much, that people working from home are not as productive. Maybe that's from my own experience, because I am working nonstop from where I am. But I think that the mindset of the employee has matured. People, like, it used to be seen as a novelty. Now it's just seen as a way to work. So really, I'm a proponent of it. I think the hybrid model is fantastic because it offers the best of both worlds. There is something to be said for coming into the office and seeing your teammates and collaborating with them, and team lunches and team events and things like that. But it does give us extra opportunity for different members of the workforce and different shift patterns than we might otherwise not have been able to consider.
I see. So
Thanks,
in
Eddie.
Australia, become normal to implement hybrid contact center.
Yeah, I think so. I think there is an expectation for most contact center workers that they can adopt some hybrid approach, whether it's a day or two, excuse me, from home. I think the folks who are having people in the office full time are probably in the minority, but I do expect that minority to grow. I think there definitely is some strong motivation from a lot of organizations to push people back into the physical contact center.
So it's not difficult to find the agent anymore after this hybrid model.
It
Is
can definitely be part of your go-to-market when it comes to attracting and retaining staff. You might find you don't have the deepest pockets. You can't just keep paying people more and more, but being able to work from home could be something that really does attract employees to your organization. And as long as they're supported there with the right, I am from a technology, but as long as they're not feeling sort of disenfranchised or forgotten about, I think it can yield great results. I'm in favor. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Nadia. Anyway, Jazz Hanley just joined us, so welcome, Jazz.
Thanks, Andi.
Okay, yeah. We are already talking about the global opportunity of the hybrid models. So maybe you want to introduce yourself and explain what is your point of view about the hybrid model for the contact center. Go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Hey, everyone. My name is Jazz Hanley. I am part of WorkVivo by Zoom. WorkVivo is an employee engagement platform, been part of Zoom for around 2 years now. And obviously, we talk to companies of all different shapes and sizes about future of work, the work environment. And I think when I've listened to the other answers and the question, Andy, I think it's hard to believe that it's already been 5 years since we've kind of, I guess, the popularization of hybrid as being, I guess, the default model for most companies. And the fact we're still talking about it, and as Nadia said, companies are still mandating people to go back to the office, we haven't figured it out. And I think that's probably the reality that, whenever there's no one fits all solution for every single organization, because there's nuances, there's differences. I think there's two things that I definitely highlight that, we see on a regular basis. I think hybrid is a real democratization of a working environment. I think, this idea of a digital workplace, and, our customers actually coined the term the digital heart of their organization, actually allowing people to have, access to the right information and being kind of digital first, which is supplemented by office interactions. That becoming the norm rather than being office first with digital supplementing the interactions. I think that change happened, kind of before our very eyes, and now we're kind of quite comfortable and quite used to it. Even doing this event online, a couple of years ago, probably wouldn't have been much of a thing. So I think there's definitely been a leveler in people's expectations, of the work environment. I think there's also been, for organizations, they're able to create, or they're trying to create, a sense of belonging, a sense of culture, a sense of kind of understanding of, how to feel connected to their colleagues, but they're not sitting next to each other. I think especially in the contact center world, being part of a team, kind of building relationships in the workplace is a really important part of that. How do you recreate that online? I think that's still, companies are still trying to kind of figure that out. And I think also what we saw a lot as well, and what we've seen is especially where WorkVivo works, is almost a bit of a class system being created in the office space. And the way I'll kind of explain this is, I think we saw, the kind of the core staff who had the ability to potentially work from home or be hybrid. And then, as we call them, like essential workers who had to go to the offices, who had to go to the front line to serve customers, to serve all of us. And we really saw like an imbalance in the way that kind of companies, almost like a bit of a fraction between, those who can work from home and those who can't. And I think companies are trying to almost create that level field where, everyone is able to, get access to the right information. Everyone is able to communicate with each other. Everyone is able to kind of feel part of the same company. And it's not just kind of us versus them, like emailed staff versus non-emailed staff. So I think we're starting to see a lot of companies try to think about holistically their whole business rather than just, let's make sure the people who have emailed or have IT identities actually can get the right information. So I think there are 2 points that I definitely have seen over the past 5 years, which is kind of unbelievable that we're this far into our kind of hybrid journey.
Yeah. Thank you, Jess. Okay. You are in Singapore right now?
I'm in Thailand right now, but I'm based in Singapore, yes.
But you're based in Singapore, yeah. So you
Based in
observe more about Thailand and Singapore contact center.
I look across the whole region, so from India all the way to New Zealand. WorkVivo, we do we have a lot of amazing clients globally, not specifically in contact center. We're more around overall employee experience, I guess. So it's about kind of connecting the entire workforce. So our clients vary from airlines to retail stores and everything in between.
Okay, back to you later. Back to Tila. Welcome back.
Sorry about that little glitch just now.
Yeah,
so
don't worry. Back to the question. So go ahead with the overview about the market in Malaysia.
So when we talk about the global opportunities, I think it also gives us an opportunity where we can hire beyond our geographic boundaries. So, if you're looking for particular skill sets or something like that, you're not limiting yourself to what you have in country. You can go beyond that. That also gives an opportunity if people are sitting outside the country, where you can offer flexible work arrangements. That will also help with perhaps your 24/7 coverage. So these are the kind of things that I think works in favor for the hybrid
I see.
bill. So you also have perhaps a way of looking at it is where you decentralize some of your teams. So you can manage things like in case there are disruptions due to national crises or regional crises, weather events, perhaps, infrastructure failures, all these things. You, as an organization, you probably can manage it a little better when you've got people sitting, in different regions or different countries, not just in one particular location. I'm all for the hybrid model right now.
Yeah.
Thank
It
you.
seems that because Malaysia have multiple language handling across Asia Pacific is good for you. Yet is this model hybrid? It's
It
cost
is.
as well.
It is definitely, because we support multiple languages here, and we do 24/7 support, right? So we are able to attract the talent, and it, even if you can't get them in country, you can work with people outside the country. Yeah.
So SBPO is welcome about this. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
It works.
Actually, challenge and already mentioned by Nadia before. So, but I want to back to Elias regarding this. Actually, can you highlight what is challenge and how to mitigate in terms of New Zealand regarding this hybrid? Of course, you already mentioned as well about the risk about this. So, but of course, we can mitigate. Go ahead, Elias.
So when you come to looking at the issues around hybrid work, I think we've already heard some of the challenges like natural disasters. In New Zealand, we've had earthquakes, we've had situations where the disruption to business becomes quite traumatic. And you've got to have an ability to have this hybrid model where you can have people that are working across every aspect of the geography. But you go back and then you look at the issues that we've also heard about, where they talk about how do you build the culture of the organization? And this is an important element for us to consider, because when you used to have everybody in the office, it became easier to do your training in one group and to help to look at the culture and the support when somebody had a problem. You can definitely still offer support regionally in a remote hybrid model, and that's something for us to consider when we employ our staff. But when you look at a person who is geographically very remote from the other center, how can you bring them into an environment when you're mandating, as we heard Nadia suggest, that some companies are saying you have to come back to the office? We are hearing people saying that they're encouraging more people to come to the office, but we have to have some reasonable practice behind this. Understand that in New Zealand, and it's probably the same in the Asia Pacific region, the cost of living crisis means that transportation is a big factor to add in, and people are not getting necessarily the support from the company to fund that activity. So giving them flexibility is a good opportunity to say to people, work from home, but ask us how we can support you. And from, I guess, a workforce management perspective, we have to ask ourselves, how do we empower the team leaders to support people and coach them in a remote environment? And we have to make sure that when we have this hybrid model, we still have the high touch, not just high tech, because we've got to be able to support people, because they are literally human beings like you and I, which contribute maybe up to 70% of the cost of running your contact center. And if we can't help them, then we are failing them.
Yeah, it means that you agree that even though we are working remotely, but sometimes they need to be face-to-face meeting to have touch as a people. Yeah, it's human. Okay, I want to move to Nadia because you already raised issue regarding this. Maybe technology can help. I have two technology here, Jazz and Nadia. I go first with Nadia. What is the challenge and how to mitigate? Go ahead, Nadia.
I think challenges for working from hybrid, a couple of things. I think from a scheduling perspective and to be quite operational, it's always worth knowing who's where. A long time ago, I was at American Express and they brought in hybrid working like in about 2000, so 20 years ago. And at that point in time, it was a real novelty, and you had to have an employee who had met all KPIs. They had to have a certain level of tenure. We would go to the home office, make sure it wasn't going to cause any OH&S issues, that it met technology standards for network connectivity and wireless and all that stuff. Now I think it's a little bit more free-flowing, I guess. So no, being able to produce a plan that indicates to you whether the person's in the office or not is helpful, because you may be having in-office activities that you need to schedule them for. And I find that if you make that mistake, it does lead to employee dissatisfaction. I'm not here, I'm not in the office, I can't go to that meeting. You know, you're getting it wrong in their eyes. I think making sure that you can create a conversation with the employee that is timely and responsive to the fact that they're hybrid, but doesn't spam them. You will notice a lot of countries are bringing in the right to disconnect laws. So that should be in your mind, that just because the employee is at home, unlike us on this call, who probably all of us answer emails and calls all day long, when it's a contact center employee, you should be respectful of those boundaries, not just assume you can contact them at any time. The other thing is the type of thing that you're contacting them for as well. So yes, coming from a technology provider, we can totally automate the real-time practice. We can totally automate intraday management. We don't need a person watching a screen and taking corrective action. There's technology for that. But the way that you set up that technology is really important. We don't want to be spamming people. We don't want them shutting down notifications and disengaging from the conversation. So yeah, I guess making sure that they're prepared from a technology perspective, ensure that you know where they are. If they are hybrid, that you can understand that, you know, Andy's hybrid days are Tuesday and Friday, and Elias's are something else. That's also important, knowing where they are at different points in time. And then having that automated and proactive outreach in a way that's constructive and timely and not irritating, and not reaching them out of hours just because you think they're at home, that they're accessible to you 24/7.
I see. So you mentioned about the specific time for employee. We need to be, make sure that specific time working about that, and yeah, they need to handle the call, email in specific time. That's why you did workforce to manage that, to control the activities
Yeah,
of agent.
absolutely. And look, it depends on what type of work they're doing as well. Like if you have a back office employee who's moving to a hybrid model, you might be looking at different operational KPIs. You may not even care when they do the work. It might be looking at tickets closed or cases resolved, and maybe you're focusing on conformance rather than adherence, because I don't really care what time they are working. But the way you manage them might change slightly, and that's something that's worth considering as well.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Nadia.
No worries.
We move to Jazz. So what is your opinion about this challenge and mitigation regarding the hybrid models?
Look, I think just setting aside almost the hybrid model for 1 second, I think just expectations of technology have really changed, let's say, over the past decade and a half. You know, I can get any cuisine in the world pretty much delivered to my door within 30 to 40 minutes, kind of depending on kind of, you know, where I am. And yet a lot of the times in my kind of working environment, I might be using pretty clunky, outdated, you know, kind of unimaginative and quite frustrating systems. So I think that kind of breakdown and that kind of barrier between the technology and the UX that we're so used to in our personal lives, and then kind of going to the work and having something really clunky and maybe quite slow and not really, you know, probably built even this century. I think that's becoming almost unacceptable at this moment in time. I think people want to make sure that the tools they're interacting with, the technologies they're interacting with are easy, they're user-friendly, and they actually are like they make their jobs easier rather than actually kind of, you know, causing more stress and everything like that. So I think definitely that's one thing to call out. I think the expectations of employees has changed. I guess I could probably bring one example to life. So you know, at WorkVivo, one of our clients is Virgin Group. So Virgin Group, obviously, I'm sure everyone's aware of them. 65,000 employees, 40 different sub-brands across the Virgin family. So this is everything from Atlantic to cruises to Galactic, you know, and everything in between. So they've got such a diverse group of not just locations, not just languages, not just time zones, but also, you know, job roles and experiences and levels of digital dexterity. So I'd implore anyone to check it out. Just Google Virgin WorkVivo. They've rolled out WorkVivo for every single employee in the business. They've called it the Virgin Family. So their WorkVivo is called the Virgin Family. And a couple of interesting things they're using it for is they have a thing called the cookie jar. So this is where employees are able to access treats, exclusive discounts on Virgin experiences. They all have a voice. So they're able to not just have like top-down communication, but kind of bottom-up, being able to how information flowing become more natural, more social. The ability to celebrate, you know, different initiatives across the Virgin Group, and not just stay focused to maybe Virgin Cruises, but also understand what's happening at the higher level. So I think it's understanding, like, meet the employees where they are, rather than trying to change the way that they communicate and do things typically.
Yeah. Sometimes the problem about time, because sometimes it's not good time to talk regarding specific because time zone is different. Okay.
Exactly.
Back to Tila. Yeah, you want to add on what is the challenge and how to mitigate about this, especially BPO?
Right. So while we look at the hybrid workforce model, right, we say it offers flexibility. You've got, as I said earlier, you've got the global opportunity or regional opportunities. Of course, the whole bunch of challenges, risks, and limitations as the previous speakers have already spoken about. I think one thing that I probably see is that, by doing this remote work, you may not have the right amount of collaboration and engagement. People are, sitting remotely, and you're not able to get them all to sit in the same environment, and speak, or, it's different, when you're standing around a water cooler and sharing information, as opposed to doing it over Teams, So I think some of the things that I've seen that work, where you do performance tracking, you're not just looking at the number of hours that people are logging in, you're looking at the outcomes of what they're doing, right? Maybe in contact centers, you introduce gamification, and you also want to introduce or promote very flexible but structured hybrid work policies, right? So that you encourage people. So by leveraging whether it's cloud solutions or structured hybrid policies, you probably can overcome some of these challenges. That is from a Malaysian perspective. The other thing is probably also encourage, regular virtual check-ins, so that people don't feel left out, that nobody's bothered about me. I'm sitting here all by myself, everybody else is in the office, or, I don't get an opportunity, have regular team huddles, and, through, all organizations use different collaboration tools, maybe also have hybrid friendly engagement initiatives, have virtual events, recognition programs, whatever it is.
Okay.
So
any problem is similar with, that in Indonesia we have problem regarding people who work at home because of the space, the room availability for the agent, maybe not sufficient to remote working to handle client. So is it happen in Malaysia?
I think maybe in the initial stages, it might have been like that, but I think organizations now provide for tools, and you are encouraged to have your space and your furniture and whatever it is. So you don't probably face the kind of problems that you did in the initial space when initial time, when we all went into the hybrid model, we did remote work, and we're like, oh my God, where do I sit? Where do I, you've got the baby crying, you've got the dog barking, I think now people are more conscious of it and more aware of how to create their space in order to work more efficiently, I guess.
So during recruitment, we need to make a statement about that to employees. So otherwise, okay.
But I think it was Nadia who said earlier, also right now people are embracing the hybrid way of working. The younger people, well, not so young, I'm also young, but say the millennials and the
You're still young, don't worry.
Thank you. The newer people coming into the workforce, they kind of like the idea, that flexibility, they don't want to get into the office. I think we are used to getting into the office at a particular time, we've been trained like that. But I think now people are all moving away from that, so that idea of having that certain level of freedom, in the way they work. I think that's also something very encouraging, and people ask for that. Yeah.
Okay, good point, Tila. So you already mentioned about the outcome. I think I asked Elias regarding this. So this is talking about the best practice. What is the best practice that we can measure in terms of this hybrid model? Go ahead, Elias.
So the best practice for the hybrid model, it's going to be really interesting, because I think that you're already hearing many of the panelists who are explaining that we have to start the cultural conversation a lot earlier, even in recruitment, as you're saying, Andy, make people aware of what we're going to be doing. Tilla was suggesting also that you've got to have that ability to have the remote check-in. And I've heard this even from the early days of when COVID came and separated us into working from home. The best practice we've seen is the organization that says in the morning, you're going to turn up and you're going to have a team huddle and you have to have your video on, because there are issues we still understand with mental health to make sure that people are there. And then at the end of the day, when you check out for your shift, you will also have an opportunity to connect in and to speak with people. But when you think of the hybrid model also, and I want to consider this across the whole organization, and you're hearing already some of the other panelists starting to say this. When you think of customer experience, CX is a team sport. That means that there are other departments and other parts of the organization that have to be involved to support your frontline staff. Right. So when you come to think about how do you have somebody who is the frontline interacting with your clients, you have to have the understanding and the best practice that even other groups like marketing are aware of their responsibility and their ability to share things amongst ourselves. But we also have to have the best practice to understand how do we control remote workers without being offensive in how we are measuring them. We have to give them some level of understanding and support them in the right way. But we also have to have the tools available to identify problems early on. And already we have some amazing tools that have been introduced, which are sometimes AI-driven, that will help us improve the way that we enhance the operation by the individual.
I see. In New Zealand, do you measure how many hours they need to work a day or a week?
Yeah, we're still measuring that, and we've got some very important criteria around the average handling time that they're on, their adherence onto the queue and things along those lines. But we're starting to understand that if we ask ourselves with first contact resolution, are we starting to measure that? Because first contact resolution means that maybe sometimes we can spend a little more time waiting in the queue to speak to somebody. But if we can spend longer on the call and resolve the call completely, then that will help reduce some of the ongoing requirement for staff to come on board. And we definitely measure all of those elements, but we're now starting to see people measure more first contact resolution.
I see. Okay, you are moving to FCR, yeah. Okay, thank you, Elias. I move to Nadia. Yeah, regarding this, maybe you can share about the best practice implementation of hybrid in terms of operation or in terms of technology. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think being able to have parity with folks who are in the contact center in terms of access to data, access to performance insights, and I guess the overarching way that these people are managed. So it shouldn't be that they're out of sight, out of mind. So just because they're in a different location doing a different thing, some of those engagements might look different. They may be remote rather than being an in-person one-on-one, but they should be still happening with the same cadence and the same focus as somebody who is sitting in the contact center receive. So I would just, ensure that the organization, if you have a robust performance management practice, that those practices are extended in the same way to somebody who is working from home. If there's some barrier to being able to do that, then the organization should be able to, have some sort of workaround or strategy so that the employee doesn't feel like they're forgotten about or living in some sort of vacuum away from the main cohort. I like the conversation about, cameras on and things like that. We have to do that every Monday morning on our town hall, but I think that's just because of our manner. He knows we're not suffering from ill mental health. I think he just likes to see us. But I spoke to an insurance company once, and they had a different way of going about, maybe not so relevant now, but they used to do a thing where you would join the meeting or the daily huddle, and they had a little game they would play, and it was like, if you were an actor in a movie today, what would you be? And every day the theme was different. Like if you had what song would be your life today? And it was kind of their way of making it a game, and in a non-confrontational way, trying to identify maybe people who were feeling a little low or feeling a little lonely or disenfranchised. And I actually spoke to the person after the call. I said, I've never seen anyone do that before. I thought it was really cool. Because a lot of people, like even myself, I don't necessarily want to talk about those sort of things with work, or you might find that the employee finds it difficult to breach that, but making a sort of team huddle and team group around helps people to discuss that. But definitely you should be able to manage the employee in the same way. If having them going to another location is going to introduce some barrier that you can't overcome, then you need to take a hard look at what that is, because not only can the operation suffer when work is not worked, but for the employee morale and as Elias mentions, their mental health, it's important that they get treated the same.
Do you think that, that combination, how many percentage of hour of services that they need to spend on the engagement? That if the
Do you mean like what would be a great mix of working from home versus I think it really, I guess, depends. Probably I think people should be able to, well, I work from home full time, so I'm not a great person to ask. And I go into the office, when I need, but I travel a lot, so it's hard for me to get there. But I think, for a contact center employee at the agent level, I think 1 or 2 days a week is great. Just really helps to keep them connected and engaged with their teammates.
Yeah, this is the, Elias also mentioned about how to make them aware about this one. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Nadia. Back to Jess, regarding this one. So do you have a best practice that we can implement in the how to,
absolutely. I think that one thing we probably saw as well was like, we call it the SaaS sprawl. I think, as organizations, went hybrid and went, remote first for a long period of time, kind of buying more and more pieces of technologies to try and fill the gaps of, I guess, those kind of typical office interactions. And I think there was a Gartner study, I can't remember the exact figure, but it's kind of the average number of applications available to a knowledge worker. It's kind of, I think it's like 20 or 30 again. There's a study out there, but if you even think in your own working day, how many applications you can actually access.
Too many applications to be handled?
I think a lot of the time it's far too many. And I think a lot of the time that boils down to just like not being intentional with like what piece of technology is being used for what, and just a lot of replication. And if people are joining a company for the first time, just not having that clear understanding of, hey, like this is what we use this for. This is how we use email. This is how we use Teams or Slack or Zoom Team Chat or whatever, or Workvivo. I think there's a couple of things though, Andy, just to kind of highlight that we've seen work really well. I think this idea of being like global yet local. I think making sure that people are able to get the right information at the right time, but being able to localize that into languages, into cultural nuances, into hearing from people that they know and respect, and not just a kind of a company voice is really important. We see a lot of we encourage and we see a lot of like peer recognition. So not just kind of having I guess the company or leaders in the business like show good work, but actually having the ability to any employee to actually shout out some great work or an extra effort, or even just support after a difficult conversation or whatever it may be. That just becomes really important. Transparency. So we see a lot of clients that we work with do like virtual town halls, like Ask Me Anything. So like that consistent visibility from leadership across all locations, building trust, and not just maybe a letter or a 1,000-word kind of report about how record profits in the company, actually having a real contact time and FaceTime with in the internal stakeholders. And I think it's all underpinned by insights and analytics, like being able to measure like which content is being effective, like where is it being most effective, and can you relate that back to attrition levels, or can you relate that back to business successes? So understanding like what content's working where and how you can be more pinpoint rather than the old town square megaphone, which kind of here's some information, here's an update, and everyone should receive that in the same way. We don't. We're all very different. We're all unique. We need to kind of understand like how we're able to do that in a more pinpoint way. So there are a few things that we see a lot.
Yeah, thank you. You mentioned about the knowledge, transparency, analytics. So many tools, yeah, that okay. I back to Tila regarding this one. Yeah, best practice. Something you want to share about what is best practice maybe in BPO to implement this hybrid model. Go ahead.
Right. So I think a lot of points have been covered by the previous speakers, but I think we also want to just look at it from an employee well-being and engagement perspective, right? I always think that happy agents would be happy customers. So while we offer flexible work arrangements, that is something that I kind of think is good. But we need to balance that out with your peaks and troughs, while you tell people, oh, you can pick, what time you want to come or whatever it is, but you have to make sure that your operations are running to optimal, and while you offer this, you want to have agents feel that they have their work-life balance as well, right? Another thing that a lot of organizations are now offering mental health resources, and to manage this remote working, because just because you're working remotely doesn't mean that people have forgotten you. So you want to encourage this, and we don't want any sort of burnout. Also, make sure there are enough reward and recognition programs. Just because an agent again is hybrid doesn't mean that they've become invisible. That's for, I think, any employee. The other thing is to make sure there is continuous feedback. I think when we talk about policies that we have set within the organization, that needs constant review as well, because what may work today may not work next year or may not have worked previously, but it is what it is now, in the current environment. So always have some sort of review. You want to look at what market trends are. What does your workforce need? What do your agents need? Also, take feedback from employees, because they know what they want. They will tell you. And I think people these days are not shy. Employees these days, they know what they want. They will tell you, so let's have implement, I think, real-time feedback, loops. So agents are able to tell you what their challenges are. They give their opinion. We work with that, to make the workplace a better place for them.
Good point, Vila. But some of agents also worry about the AI regarding the EA agent replace them, because most of them.
Well, again, right? It's a lack of probably. It's how it's been presented. You don't want your agents to be sitting and doing boring, mundane tasks. Ask the AI to do that. Let upskill your agents. Get them to do things that mean more. You don't need them to just sit and transcribe stuff. AI can do that. That's happening on this call already. You don't need somebody sitting and doing that. It's mundane. I think agents need to understand that. Yes, AI is there. Maybe I should be afraid. No, don't be afraid, because it only means that you're becoming better at what you're doing, or you are improving your skills so you have better offering later.
But sometimes it's challenging for agent as well, because they need to learn more new things. So this is.
But I guess if you don't learn, if you don't move, might as well become a tree and just stay in the same place, right? You
Yeah.
know,
Okay.
so I think that's
Yeah.
something that's important that everybody, I think,
Yeah.
would benefit from.
Yeah. Thank you, Tila. Good point. So I want to move first to Nadia because this is talking about the technology. So how technology can help in terms of this one. So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of folks working from home, I'm here, I guess, on behalf of NICE today. We have, for example, technology that can automatically understand, what the employee is doing and proactively notify the employee or supervisor of like any adherence violation. So let's say, for example, employees should have logged out of their shift. They're working from home. They forgot, or they should have logged in. We can detect that, send
Yeah.
an automatic notification to the employee and to the supervisor. We can do things even like iterative alerting. And so let's say, for example, I have maybe somebody who's new and they have come on remotely. The technology can detect that they've had so many instances of high AHT over a certain number of periods, so that alert shall be escalated to a supervisor. So we can do some really cool things with alerts and notifications to reduce alert fatigue and intelligently pace those alerts. The employee can select the channel of choice under which they'd like to be contacted. I prefer SMS, email, in-app notification, for example. And they can do things like as well set their preferred contact hours. Like, of course, we can override those in the case of an emergency. The technology as well can help match up supply and demand in an automated way. So our technology platform can understand that we're over or understaffed. It can send a proactive shift opportunity to the employee via channel of choice. Employee can pick up extra hours and schedule is immediately updated without anybody talking to anybody, without any need for manual intervention at all. So we're doing like intraday automation. We're doing proactive alerts. We can even do now, for example, let's say that the employee is held up on a call. The WFM can detect that and automatically shift the upcoming events. Again, freeing administrators up from having to be involved in that process. So a lot of ways to, in a supportive way, still monitor what the employee is doing. Proactively notify them under, conditions that make sense to the operation and to the employee as well. And, automate that matching up of supply and demand. We do have things like, of course, like desktop activity monitors. The customers that I speak to who are interested in desktop activity monitoring, it's not so much that I haven't had anyone come to me and say, I want that specifically for at-home workers. It'll just be that perhaps this is someone in the back office and I can't get a contact center integration to all the different data points that they work. To Jazz's point, there might be a whole Frankenstack of technology that people are working across. So something that's monitoring the application usage and, providing analytics into performance across that desktop, wherever that desktop is, can be hugely beneficial into giving operational insights. Doesn't matter where they're sitting, that could be useful as well. But definitely lots of different solutions to keep people on track. I think the point that was raised earlier about self-service and the way we treat the employee is really important. So, I speak to a lot of banks and different customers in different verticals, and, you research them before you go to speak to them. And, you look on their app and I can apply for a mortgage. I can request a new credit card. I can tell the bank if I'm, going to be in India and if I'm going to be using an ATM and how much money I think I'm going to be taking out. And then you go in there and you say, well, what technology or services are you providing to the employee? If they want to take leave, they have to write an email, they have to put up their hand. And it's like, that is a big disconnect. And again, that's just not for anyone working from home, could be anywhere. But I think offering really robust self-service is a great initiative in this day and age as well.
Anyway, Nadia, you already explained very well regarding how to schedule, how to forecast about that. How about the quality control of the services delivered by an agent who working hybrid?
Yeah, I think back to my earlier point, you want to make sure that you can report and monitor on the employee with the same level of insight that you can from a contact center worker who happens to be in the bricks and mortar location. So as long as you can still get access to the same data, we've been speaking about scorecards and gamification and reward and recognition. Then we should be able to manage them from a performance and output perspective, just the way that we do anyone in the contact center. I guess for a QM perspective, making sure that you have, automated QM, which we provide, can surface up, contacts that are of concern and that should be monitored to stop the QM people from having to manually find, interactions to grade is really great. The other thing that we're seeing in QM is making sure that you have a QM technology that can support all the different channels. A lot of people are still focused on voice and they're not doing QM on the cases and the emails and the chats and things like that. So you need an omni-channel solution that can support automated quality management right across the platform.
Thank you, Nadia. Jess, you want to add on regarding this, how technology can help in this hybrid?
Yeah, I think there's so many points Nadia made there, and I think there's technology can do so much, but I think it's always really important to focus on like the outcomes. Like ultimately, what are you trying to achieve, or how are you trying to actually empower or help your workforce? I think even the point around AI we heard before, I think it's obviously something that we talk about. It takes a lot of airtime, but actually, how is it empowering or helping your day to day or hour by hour is really important to kind of not lose sight of that. And not just kind of technology for technology's sake, which is quite weird coming from a person who works for obviously a technology company, but it's really important to kind of stick to those kind of outcomes. And I think, what we talk about a lot ultimately at kind of WorkVivo is to kind of simplify work and ultimately like empower your people. I talked before about the kind of the explosion of tech, the kind of SaaS sprawl. I think one of the key things that we do a lot at WorkVivo is we try to work with organizations based on like how are they engaging their employee base? Like, are there any parts of the organization that just aren't connected because they don't have an email address, because they don't have the relevant licenses for a particular platform? Really try to understand those journeys. Like, what is the journey of the employee from application all the way to alumni, and what are those touch points that you're building for them? And I think one of the key things that we do actually quite a lot, and we talk about like what's the payback of WorkVivo. If I install the solution, like what is the payback for me as a business? The average payback is 6 months, and the reason or the way we've delivered that is typically organizations, they would have an intranet solution, they would have a newsletter platform, they would have maybe a survey tool, they would have a chat system, or maybe they're using WhatsApp to communicate with each other, which obviously has its own difficulties. But actually the consolidation of those technologies, not just from a cost perspective, but also from a security perspective, also from a employee experience perspective, having to log into 3 or 4 or 5 different platforms to be heard, to find the right information, to kind of give your feedback, consolidating that into something like WorkVivo. That's typically where we do really well with organizations, especially kind of big, kind of multinational businesses, because it gives them that kind of one place, one app, one kind of standardized place where every single employee in the organization can be part of something kind of bigger than themselves. So I think that's what we really focus on, about like kind of reaching everyone everywhere.
Okay. I just needed to highlight about this, how Zoom, that provide something for the contact center to support the hybrid. We are using Zoom now. That we are on Zoom now, but that in terms of contact center, how Zoom can help.
So we were acquired by Zoom 2 years ago, and I think we work, obviously a lot of our clients, we have mutual clients and obviously kind of the same clients. I think when it comes to kind of contact center, we look at things like agent attrition, like being able to understand like overall engagement of your agents. How are you communicating them? How are you getting information to them? How are you supporting them? How are they able to actually raise up in the business if there's things that they want to communicate? So I think we're seeing businesses and organizations utilizing Zoom and WorkVivo effectively together. We also have clients who are standalone WorkVivo clients who don't use Zoom. And the power of technology, i.e. like the town halls, the live streaming aspect of the Zoom, being able to actually almost like kind of powered by WorkVivo is powered by Zoom, rather than, kind of it's one and the same. We're really flexible in that regard. But we definitely see kind of, agent attrition as being something that we can look to alleviate, or at least kind of focus on as it relates to kind of Zoom's contact center capabilities, and how WorkVivo can help with those as part of the solution.
Thank you, Jazz. Back to Thila and Elias. I go first with Thila, regarding this one. In BPO, how technology can help in hybrid.
So I think you can get all sorts of technology. You can put it in the environment, but what is it that you're trying to achieve? I think you need to understand that. Why are you doing certain things? I think you want to, firstly, you want to have maybe your cloud-based contact center platforms, right? You want to enable that hybrid agents are able to work from just about anywhere. You want to have your unified tools, so that you can integrate perhaps your CRM or your help desk systems with any of the collaboration platforms. You want to have some sort of centralized communication to ensure that there are no information silos, between your remote agents and your in-office people. You want to also probably track workload balance to avoid or to prevent burnout for agents. We also heard there are tools for gamification, recognition systems. You want to keep your agents motivated, engaged. And I think maybe my final point would be real-time feedback, digital coaching, right?
Quality management, you mean?
Correct. Yes. You want to look at the quality. Yes. You also want to make sure there is continuous learning for an agent perspective.
For knowledge management, they need to learning management system. Now is doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned a lot of technology regarding that. So I get Elias' point of view regarding how technology can help.
Look, I think you've heard some great aspects from all three of the other panelists in terms of what technology is doing. Let's go back and review something that Thila said before. We're seeing technology improve the automation of certain types of calls. So we want our agents to have more complex calls. And that's a good thing to do. But remember that technology is an enabler. It's not the final element of the solution that you're going to do. So whether you're introducing AI, be it through quality management and analyzing the calls, etc., or whether it is offering prompts to the agents, you've got to turn around and say to yourself, well, number one, is the data that we're using accurate and clean and available to then enhance the operation? Are you making it, as has been rightly said by Jazz, easy for somebody to be engaged and to communicate their ideas? But what this comes down to is one fundamental thing. The people that we have in our contact centers have to have a voice and have to have an engagement. If you do not involve them, they'll have the problem that Thila was mentioning a little while ago about and you mentioned this, Andi, where AI agents are coming in and you say, hold on, what's the risk to me? And you've got to be able to use the technologies to enhance how people operate. We've heard about gamification. That's an important element. Remember that the new workforce is getting younger and younger. So the way that they operate operate is different. Yes, give them the flexibility to work from home, but make it exciting for them to and easy for them to change their shift. That gamification has to be there. We're seeing it in organizations like McDonald's, who use that here in New Zealand to allow their workforce to have the flexibility. But unless you develop the relationship in there with your workforce, doesn't matter what technology you put in place. If they do not buy into your leadership, they're not going to buy into any technology that you apply.
I see. I see. Thank you. Good point. Because this is regarding engagement. So there is question here. Is it really that this model will be more efficient? Because this is a high question, question mark regarding that. Is it really efficient, or this is just another because we need to entertain our employee? So go ahead.
I think we are starting to see some efficiency gains coming into the way that we operate. And definitely we're seeing technology start to improve the operational efficiency within a contact center. Nadia was mentioning about the fact that we now have to look at all the different types of omni-channel connections and how do we measure the efficiency and the quality across these channels. And these have to start to improve. At the end of the day, we are still in a relative infancy on some of the technology, and we're not seeing the full gain of efficiency coming through. But if we are removing the simpler, more standard call, automating that with technology, that means that the agents now longer average handling time. So are we really making the efficiency gain? Well, then you ask yourself, is the need for a speed of answer to be 80-20, and you answer 80% of your calls within 20 seconds? Well, most customers maybe want to wait a minute or 2 minutes. And if you change that metric, just in terms of one of the metrics you use, you might be able to improve the efficiency by having fewer agents across the board. But what I'm still trying to understand is, how do you make it the most efficient for an omni-channel agent who is doing multimedia calls, voice as well, and they're not easy to have them all together in the same platform.
But there's sometimes the qualification of agent to handle multiple channel, omni-channel, email, chatting, social media at the same time is difficult for them as well.
It's difficult.
Yeah, it's difficult.
And I think it's more difficult when it's a man doing it compared to a woman doing it, because at least women can multitask.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Nadia can help about that. Go ahead, Nadia.
About multitasking for women?
This has become problem for them because they have to working for many channels. Go ahead, Nadia.
Yeah, look, omni-channel and planning for omni-channel is something that a lot of organizations are still struggling with. So if you even go and speak to organizations today, and how accurately are you able to forecast for email, for example, which has been around forever? A lot of them are still struggling. A lot of them are still struggling to even come up with accurate plans for multi-skilling. And a lot of the WFMs out there can't correctly ascertain staff utilization when the employees are multi-skilled. So this is a challenge. Definitely, a lot of it's in the technology camp. So we have a situation where a lot of organizations, as Jazz mentioned up front, are stuck with these point solutions. And some of them were never intended for use with WFM, right? I've got customers who still have employees who get something off a fax machine. I know there's definite messaging systems and other platforms out there that just simply cannot provide the right type of data that WFM needs. Then the other challenge is a lot of them still pretend everything's a phone call. So they will triage the data and treat the data, calculate it, send it to WFM on the pretension or on the predicated on the notion that this is like a phone call, and it's not. It's possibly asynchronous or very long handle time type of interaction. So I bring this up because the employee experience is downstream from all of this. So if
Yeah.
you're in a situation where you can't accurately forecast and schedule for all the different data points in your organization, how are you able to create a plan that is going to be cognizant of employee occupancy, that is going to deliver things like that first contact resolution and low wait times and stuff like that? So I think that's a fundamental challenge that a lot of organizations still haven't overcome. They call themselves omni-channel because they have a plethora of channels, but they're being delivered through different point solutions, and that's very, very difficult to get that data in. The other thing that I'm seeing in terms of readiness for omni-channel is that the workforce management practice is often left quite out of this conversation. So there'll be somebody who goes to some conference and sees a shiny thing about an AI bot or whatever and thinks that's fantastic, and we shall buy the shiny new thing and we shall put it in. And they don't even speak to the people who manage the workforce, which is workforce management. And that's a two-sided thing as well. Often WFM teams don't do themselves any favor at all because they spend all their time doing transactional stuff because that's all they sort of know how to do, moving breaks and changing shifts and putting people's vacations in. So I think it's a missed opportunity to explain to an organization, hey, did you know that if you were going to put conversational AI at the front of that channel, it could have led to a 63% containment rate, and that's going to lead to a 20% reduction in my workforce, and we could have used them in some other way. Like that technology conversation really should be happening in lockstep with WFM, because they could have modeled that out. They could have modeled out plans on a bunch of different containment rates, and a bunch of different omni-channel strategies, and being ready for that, rather than, you know, an organization who opens up a new way of communicating, and then the poor contact center agents are the ones who have to deal with perhaps high wait times, angry customers because your bot was ineffective and can't actually answer anything. And now by the time it gets through to someone, it's not only a longer handle time, but it's an angry customer as well.
It's another problem for WFM as well.
Yeah, absolutely it is. I think they're not hustling to get into these conversations in a strategic way. And that's a journey I think that the WFM practice needs to go on with, along with technology as well.
Thank you, Nadia. Back to Jazz. Maybe I add Jazz here to talk regarding this. Is it really efficient to implement hybrid?
I think I think the one thing that I'd definitely highlight is I think we're seeing a real mergence between like CX, like customer experience, and EX, employee experience. I think they're obviously kind of sitting at like two slightly different ends of the spectrum, but I think actually we're seeing a real mergence that, you know, kind of I say a simplistic level, but actually a very important level. Like great CX is driven by, you know, great EX, and I think actually companies that are starting to, you know, hopefully think about that in a much more intentional way. And I think what we've seen over the past 5 years, specifically, is, you know, organizations, you know, having to figure out probably things that they wouldn't have ever figured out. It would have taken, you know, decades to kind of do. So it's a real accelerant. And you think about, you know, going from, you know, the pandemic's obviously lying in the sand, kind of pre-pandemic to kind of where we are now. I think that almost the kind of game's up for a lot of large organizations, because actually that happened, and from a technology standpoint, kind of, you know, the world carried on, business carried on. So I think kind of hiding behind, you know, we won't be able to do that because of X, Y, and Z, because it's too cumbersome, it's too big. I think our expectations, I should say, have really changed and accelerated, you know, as an organization. And, you know, we've even seen that from, you know, the customers at Workvivo. You know, their expectations of what they want from Workvivo has really grown and continues to push us to do more.
Jess, do you want to highlight that hybrid model is only good for the country that where short employee available? Because in Indonesia we have so many employee available, so that's why they still want to go to work at home, at office.
I think it's I think when we talk about hybrid, or when we think about hybrid, we typically think about employees that, like, I guess, a lot of people, or the panelists on this call, or anyone else, that we're knowledge workers, as we as the term's been coined. We're behind a laptop, and we're information is being shared, and we're kind of passing it along, as part of the game, right? That's pretty much our jobs day to day. So, we're actually quite fortunate that we have the luxury to even be able to work from home. I think, again, really amazingly, we work with a lot of airlines and retail workers, where there's no flexibility to work from home. If you're in a retail worker working in a store, or you're an air host or air hostess on Delta Airlines, like you have to physically kind of be in the office, and your office is tens of thousands of feet in the sky. So I think it's trying to, how do you ensure that glue and that connectivity within the organization? You're not creating two camps between those who are knowledge workers and those who aren't, and actually you can have that kind of seamless and really kind of forward-thinking experience, which I think businesses are starting to really think about now, and not just thinking about our email staff versus our non-emailed staff. It's starting to become something that everyone is on the same footing. Everyone has the ability to access the same information. Obviously, there's information, there's things that not everyone should have access to, and that's not just from a security standpoint, but just from an ease standpoint. So I think, and the final thing, sorry, I'll just touch on, Andy, with that point, is I think it's also being really clear on, as we've talked a lot, it's been a theme throughout the session, is around, like, how does this make my life, my job, my kind of personal, kind of being selfish, like, situation, how does it make it easier, better, more fulfilling, whatever kind of you want to use there. That's always important, not just technology for technology's sake.
Thank you. You already highlight regarding this is competencies, regarding competencies. Okay, I back to Tila. Regarding this, is it really efficient? Especially you are BPO, so you have to operate more efficient. You still mute.
So I guess if you optimize your staffing, you kind of enhance your efficiency. And when you create seamless hybrid work environment and experience, like Jazz had mentioned, EX and CX, so you're boosting both of that, and again, I had mentioned earlier, happy agents is equivalent to happy customers. And I think, by getting your agents' feedback and getting them happy, and you're creating that level of service quality that you're hoping for.
I see. So we need to, this is not just entertain the employee, but we need to have impact for the GX. Anyway, I haven't give a chance to the participant to ask question. So if anyone want to ask question, raise hand or chatting. Otherwise, I will ask this one because we almost at the end of the this session is already 1 hours. So happy to have 5 speakers here. So before we end, if there is no question, I want to ask one by one of you about the future trends, how we look forward to moving forward regarding this, how to make benefit about the hybrid model. Who want to go first, or I ask ladies first? Nadia or Tila want to go first? How we moving forward, future trends regarding this. Okay, Nadia, go ahead.
Future trends regarding hybrid, or just future workforce trends?
Workforce trends, of course. Not only talking about the hybrid, maybe in the futures, okay.
So in my role, I respond to a lot of tenders and RFPs, and they're a really great way to get a sense of what's on customers' minds. And so I was doing a webinar on Tuesday and, preparing for that. And one of the Gartner industry trends, and I saw it, I was like, oh my God, that's actually really what I'm seeing in real life, is the rise of the universal employee. So this is a huge one. So every or most tenders that I see at the moment will be for the contact center. And then they'll say, oh, and also we want to do workforce management for the bank branches or the retail kiosks or the stores or the walk-in face-to-face, whatever. So this universal person who can be resource or load balanced across the organization's network is really, really where we're seeing a lot of organizations wanting to head. From a technology perspective, that presents interesting challenges because each of those areas that I listed have very niche and nuanced requirements. They may or may not have certain data points. They need different mathematical algorithms to correctly, ascertain staffing requirements and stuff like that. But this is what my top trend that I'm seeing. We want people to be shared right across the enterprise, front office, back office, middle office, bank branch, wherever. Organizations want to rationalize their operation and really look for pockets of underutilization that they can leverage in their plans and in their network. So that's my trend, the universal employee.
Is it mean that we have shared services across the company wide?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the olden days of this is the back office, this is the front office, this is my bank branches, and this is a certain contact center, which would be run by different lines of business or different reporting lines. They now want to flatten that out. And even though a lot of them quite aren't on that journey yet. So if you think about a large financial institution being able to share resources, these are different profit and loss statements. These are very different parts of the organization. So that's a journey internally for them to go on to have a management structure that supports that. But they're all asking about it. They all want to know that they could invest in a technology that one day could support that way of working. So they're definitely on that very popular journey at the moment.
Okay. Thank you. Good point, Nadia. Tila, you want to add on?
I guess what we see as probably the future for contact centers is to be agile and AI driven. So you would expect organizations to really embrace technology, be flexible, and have proactive workforce strategies to remain ahead of the curve. So they would require to invest in AI automation, have some hybrid friendly technologies. And again, I come back, I'm very pro employee. So to focus on employee engagements, you want to try and reduce burnout and improve retention.
Okay. You are Nadia mentioned the universal employee, agile, brought by Tila, and how about Jazz? So
no pressure.
Don't pressure.
I think one of the things that I definitely talk about is I think we talk a lot about technology. What's coming next? Like what does the future hold? AI. It's forever evolving, right? But and I've said this a few times, but it's really important to always focus on like what is never going to change, like what's never going to change. Not just in an organization, but for an employee. Like what do they want? And I think personally, I think it's trust and transparency. I think is something that we're going to really see grow in businesses. I think employees are and will be expecting like clear communications around layoffs, pay, AI usage, the direction of the company, what they stand for. I think we're starting to see this in, let's not talk politics, but we're starting to see this massively in politics and in all aspects of life. And I think there's no reason why the workplace should be kind of sacred and have that. So I think we're going to see a lot of real just transparency to kind of give that competitive advantage about where the organization's going, where they want to go, where they're struggling, and I think that's something that as an employee, and I think as the next generation comes in, we'll just expect is that kind of honesty about everything kind of work related, in pay rises, all this kind of stuff. I think we're starting to see obviously in the US, for example, in certain states that they have to be clear on what the pay is, like publicly. I think those kind of things are really going to change rather than just, kind of where we are now. That's in terms of the future, that's what I see.
Thank you. You always mention about the competency. I back to Elias first because the time is almost end. So because we need to launch the CC-APAC after this 2:45. So Elias, what is in the futures you see about this workforce management?
I think there's lots of great opportunities for growth in this industry. You've already heard, I think, this EX-CX conversation Jazz just mentioned is really important. Whatever we do, we've got to ensure that the employee is recognized in this process. Nadia's already mentioned that we're seeing the universal requirement, so it's a team sport. CX requires the whole organization to come together. It's driven by the front end of the contact center. I think we're going to see more of the technology being implemented to understand more and give us the real-time feedback that we're going to need as we start to learn how we can measure accurately the time taken for an SMS or a web or an email compared with the voice calls. And I think that we will see this ultimately land in a place that will help improve the welfare for our staff if we engage them early enough.
Wow. Wow, we already talk a lot of things today, yeah. Highlight about the omni-channel, about the how human touch feedback from customer, from the employee itself, talking about the employee experience, customer experience, how to deliver impact in a hybrid model. Talking about the agile, automation, being proactive, how to have universal employee. Yeah, this is shared services highlighted by Nadia. Yeah, this is good point. And struggling with the even workforce management tools, struggling to manage all the activities regarding this. Hopefully, NICE can help about that.
If they want to, happy to help. If anybody wants to link in with me after the call, we're here to support those conversations.
Anyway, if you want to contact them, please share your contact to by chatting in the chat. You can share the contact if you want to be contacted after this conversation. Thank you very much for joining us. Elias from New Zealand, Nadia from Australia, Sydney, Tila from Malaysia, and Jess from Singapore, but he's in Thailand now. Happy to have four of you, and hopefully you enjoy the discussion. And after this, we have a CC-APAC award launching. And of course, we wait for you to stay here for the launching. The CC-APAC will be in Hong Kong, and of course, we will to see you next leader talk next month in April. It will be we will update regarding the date about the next leader talk. Another discussion with leader will be very fantastic for you. Thank you very much, Nadia, Jess, Tila, and Elias. And now we will invite Kenneth Chong to join us for past experience about the CC-APAC Award. Is it joined already, Kenneth Chong? Oh, Kenneth Chong. Okay,
Hey,
welcome.
Andy.
Oh yeah, welcome, Kenneth.
Hey, hi. Sorry,
today
just managed to join in just in time.
Just in time. Before we announce the CC-APAC Award, maybe you can share about the experience because Singapore being the 2024 host, for this event. Go ahead. Time is yours.
Hey, thanks, Andy. Yeah, so thanks for welcoming me here to actually join the session with the team, right? And as we actually talk about 2024, last year, time flies. I think we are moving into this year's awards announcements and the call for entry. I guess I think if I can just put things and reflect upon what happened across the last few years and all in terms of where we have the CC-APAC Awards. First thing first, it is actually to celebrate the remarkable achievements that each of the country best of best that actually have brought to the table in terms of how they innovated within their each country in terms of this remit of customer experience delivery. If you look at it, the journey is really the continuous progression as well as the improvements and innovation that the team actually delivers exceptional experience delivery for their customers. I think as we actually look at it year on year, and this year is not going to be any different, is really about the commitment and the excellence in terms of raising the bar and creating and differentiating the experiences that you have as a contact center association, an industry, as well as practitioner. I think this culture of innovation holds and actually is in your DNA, in your blood, as I actually talked to the folks of all in this room as well as across the region. I think that is really in you, and that's the best opportunity for you to showcase being, the best of the industry, right? Raising the standards in terms of the industry benchmarks and getting the recognition they're going to get at the CC-APAC Award. I would also say that, we are actually at a point of transformation, or rather a point of change, where if you look at, AI and all this here, right, it's accessibility. I mean, first thing first, the technology barriers and all aside, the accessibility that all of us, even as consumers, now have access to that, and you experience it, allows you to harness the power with speed and agility, right? So again, we're also looking at transformation and all that happens this year, right? As you actually deliver personalized, efficient, and proactive approach. Now, I think if you look at reflecting back on last year and all, you've seen how in Singapore, the Contact Center Association of Singapore, we have themed our symposium around evolution of AI, data insights, the personalization, and the speed, right? This year is no different, and it's just going to move much faster than what you actually expect. So I think just to kind of round it up, we're looking forward to this year in 2025, right, where the participants and all that are getting into their own individual country awards. I think it's really to raise the bar and continue to push the boundaries and actually deliver excellence. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you, Kenneth. Well said. Okay. And next, I will invite Chairman of Hong Kong Contact Center, Customer Contact, Customer Contact Association, who will introduce about the award program in Hong Kong. Because this time is quite different because two countries managing the activities. Hong Kong will be the host, but ICCA will be the judging arrangement, judging panel arrangement for the evaluation. I forgot to introduce Kenneth. Kenneth is the chairman of Singapore Contact Center Association. Sorry for that. Okay. Move to Chapman. Go ahead.
Thank you, Pak Andi. So it's my honor that the Hong Kong can actually co-host, working together with you, Pak Andi, and ICCA for these coming CC-APAC Awards. So I prepare a few slides, so easier for me to walk you through what will happen around the end of October, or actually early of November this year. So the topic I really want to achieve is connecting cultures, because it's a regional awards. Definitely, the primary objective is to make friends, is to appreciate the differences among different countries, and also we can learn from each other. And also what we want to focus to learn, again, AI is typically the key topic. We want to understand more and learn more, but we don't forget the human touch. That is everything in our contact center, especially on the people management. So please mark your calendar. That is the first week of November from 4th to 7th. Actually, Hong Kong is the host, so we will arrange the contact center visit. We'll arrange the symposium and exhibition, and also we'll have the gala dinner in our Disneyland Hotel and do the awards presentation. But more importantly, I would like to say is thank you so much, ICCA and Park Andy. In fact, the judging process is actually fully supported by Park Andy and ICCA. So you will actually experience what we experienced before very much like in the past years. And I think there will some kind of continuity on that. So again, thank you very much, Park Andy. For the call center visit, actually it will happen in 4th of November. And it's not just covering Hong Kong, because Hong Kong is part of the Greater Bay Area under China. So we want to leverage what Hong Kong has and also what we have in Shenzhen, Guangzhou, and also in the Greater Bay Area. So we have two work streams to visiting all the big names actually in this area. The Hong Kong Jockey Club, China International Capital Corporation, Huawei, that is the AI driven visit, China Mobile, and HSBC, and VIP shop. So we cover both financial institution, telco, e-commerce, and AI center in this visit. So it will be a very fruitful, I hope very inspiring kind of visit that we can leverage in this area. And the key difference this year is you can have a choice. You can choose fly in Hong Kong. So you will have a call center visit stream A starting from Hong Kong. And then in the afternoon, we'll go to the Greater Bay Area. So we will visit our Hong Kong Jockey Club, which is the, I would say in terms of labor, in terms of agents, is the biggest call center in Hong Kong, more than 20,000 agents. And then we will move on to Shenzhen to visit one of our big call center using a lot of high-tech technology. And then we'll move to Huawei to see their AI capability. And then we will go to the Shenzhen hotel for check-in. Or if you choose to fly into Shenzhen, which is very near to our hotel, which is very convenient, maybe more cost-effective, then your site visit will go to our China Mobile Center, which is a huge mobile telco center. And then another e-commerce VIP shop global headquarters to understand how the contact center support e-commerce. And then we'll go to HSBC, one of the biggest financial institution contact center in the region, in Fushan, and then ending up with Huawei together with the stream A. So that is our very attractive call center visit that you can see. And all are very in big scale in different industry that you can choose. So I think that is the contact center visit we will arrange on the 4th of November. And then after that, we'll have 2 days symposium and exhibition. Again, it is a very regional favorite kind of arrangement. So we will have a technology partner flying from Europe, flying from different part of Asia to share the latest technology. We'll also have our contact center user to share their use case, and we'll have presentation from different associations. So you will see the connecting culture here in these 2 days. And I would really suggest you come in to join these 2 days symposium because you actually can deep dive to very individual use case with an interactive manner. So the panel discussion from mostly of the judging panel for the regional award will join this discussion, and you can actually hear what they actually observe after their judging for this year. So it will be a very good opportunities for all the members and participants to learn. And in fact, I would say, because it's not just for awards, it's not just for recognition, it's good for learning as well. And the course you will see very soon is very affordable. So you're not necessary just to apply your budget for recognition purpose. You can also use the budget for training as well. And before I talk about the course, the last day, which is on Friday, we will move all the participants to Hong Kong in our Disneyland Hotel. So you'll get a chance to have photo taken with Mickey and Minnie and all other Disney characters. And then we will enjoy a very like an Oscar night that to recognize our contact center participants and all the winners. So yeah, I'm sure every year we have very enjoyable nights there. So I would like to extend what we experience in Hong Kong to all the Asia folks. So yeah, that is on the last day. So you don't need to check out actually from the Shenzhen Hotel. We will arrange transportation before and after for this event. I understand from the cost perspective, yeah, Disneyland Hotel is not, it's not, I would say it's quite high end. And but you can have an option that you can just come and experience, take all the Disneyland experience, and then you can go back to Shenzhen to have a more affordable accommodation. So as I said, this year I really want to have more options for more low cost or more affordable options. So you can compare either flying Hong Kong or flying Shenzhen, which one is more easy for you or more budget oriented for you. And in terms of the hotel, actually we have a very good hotel in Shenzhen. You will see the so attractive cost later on. So you can make your travel arrangement accordingly. Oh, that is the cost. So the symposium exhibition for 2 days, the pass is around less than 500 US per person. For the call center visit, it's around 200 US per person. For the accommodation, for a twin room, is around 100 US per night. If you share with your colleagues, that means it's around 50 US per night. And if you want to have your single room, so it's 100 US per night. So very affordable, I would say. For the award and gala dinners, is 350 per person. And we also have an early bird. If you have confident enough, you will be selected to be nominated by each association, then you can subscribe to early bird. But as I said, if just for training and exhibition purpose, it's also very a good deal, less than 700 US, then you can learn a lot from the call center visit and also from the symposium. So yeah, I would say that is a very attractive package for you to consider. For the application, it's very low cost, 150 US per entry. So just to cover the judging process and also the trophy. So yeah, I think that is a very attractive pricing scheme for all of you to consider. So that is my sharing. And again, the CC-APAC, as always, is not just connecting the culture, but also connecting friends. So yeah, that is my sharing for this year, how we want to run the CC-APAC. And once again, thank you, Andi, for supporting us the judging process. And yeah, look forward to working with you closely again for this year.
And see you in Hong Kong.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Chapman.
Thank you.
Thank you. We already have some overview about the event. Thank you, Chapman, for arrange this one. I think it's not easy to manage the event, as said by Kenneth as well last year. So it's not easy to manage CC-APAC. A lot of expectation, a lot of different culture within CC-APAC organization. And it's very good arrangement of the site visit. Looking forward to see many site of contact center. Yeah, hopefully this is attractive package for all the members around, as we speak. And now we are coming to announce the award selection. Yeah, I will introduce the template and so on regarding this one. Anyway, there is many ICFS speak leader during this talk. If I could, I will introduce them. Beside Kenneth Chapman, there is also Joyce from China. Elias, of course, is from New Zealand. I have here also I can see all the participants. Yeah, maybe you can help me to point out all the leaders joining this before announcement. Ah, it's only 5 of us. I think Malaysia, someone from Malaysia, I think Sarun is joining us as well. Okay. Where is Sarun? No, maybe uh, yeah. Oh, shown on display. Okay. Anyway, let me introduce the how CC-APAC organized for the award program. I will launch my presentation. Yeah. Okay. Is it already displayed? Okay. Thank you, Hong Kong, for being the host for this award program, and we are trying to help them in terms of the arrangement of the judging session. Let me explain one by one about this award program. We have 5 categories, similar since this event launched at the first time 2019 in Jakarta, and then followed by Malaysia, and last year, followed by Thailand, and then Malaysia, and last year Singapore. So we already have 4 countries doing this one, and this year will be Hong Kong, and we're helping them similar with previous award program. So we have 5 categories. Operation, this operation, business contribution, customer experience, employee engagement, and technology innovation. Is still remain the same. So this category explained here, I will share you later regarding that. What is coverage by contact center operation? This is typically about service capacity, productivity, quality, best operational performance. This include new interaction channel, social media, chat, email, omni-channel, and so on. And business contribution, this is ability to increase business contribution, number of customer, acquisition, operational costs, and revenue and profits. Talking about the customer experience will be talking about the value-added service impact on satisfaction of customer, relationship, sentiment, engagement, of course, customer experience. Yeah, this is about the customer experience. And next is employee engagement. We are talking about the workforce retention program, award program, involvement, and then how we develop training, certification, career path for employee within contact center. And the last is technology innovation, talking about that all innovation regarding technology, implementation of AI, analytic, performance management, quality management, workforce management, CRM, and so on. So this all about the categories. And then the schedule. Yeah, this is the schedule. We create the schedule based on the plan for the award program in Hong Kong. We will have award registration from 1st of September until the 30th of September. And we will ask all participants to submit video. So you need to submit video for this, because this should be pre-recorded. This is to avoid time constraint. We not evaluate the video itself, but only the content. Yeah, this is just the tools how you present the what is the innovation within the category that you are choosing. And judging session, we only set 3 days judging session. Actually, the session of judging will be weekend. Yeah, this is to help because all judges we need their time to evaluate all the category. The same judges has to be in one category. So we have to make sure that all the judges have sufficient time to judging for all the company who to participate. This is to help to manage the consistency of the scoring within all the participants. And then I already explained by Chapman about the site visit, conference, and award ceremony. So this is the schedule. We have announcement of award on the 7th of November. In the CC-APAC Award, we have general template. So same template for all the categories. So I will explain one by one what is the content, yeah, in the template. The first, you need to have background. This is explain about the business opportunities, strategy, demand, market risk, challenges. So explain why you have the innovation. So this is talking about background. The next slide talking about data analysis about the background. You need to explain about the data supporting about the innovation, maybe include the type of customer, services, channel, past performance, related and relevant data regarding your background. And then the next is objective. This is talking about that. What is the objective, the key objective, why you need this on innovation. So the objective should be relevant to your contact center and relevant to your customer because this innovation related to the contact center. The next item that you need to present is creativities. So this is around the creativities you are implementing for the innovation. This is to explain the concept, ideas, alternative, possibility. All about what is the creativity things. It could be new things, something that attractive to customer, attractive to the employee, and so on. Key activities. Key activity, this is about timeline, how to execute the program time by time. This is about explain when to do what activities, to implement for the innovation. Yeah. Maybe about the method. Yeah. So this is actually the timeline regarding what you execute and when. And key responsibilities talking about who responsible. What is within contact center, of course. Yeah. Sometimes some innovation is coming from top down. Yeah. So you need to highlight about who is the key responsibility of doing this. And next is key resources. Key resources is this is about the human manpower, cost, about the technology you implement for this innovation. And next, about key performance indicator, this is KPI. It should be at least 4 KPI. Yeah, because this one 4 KPI need to be mentioned in this one, and of course it should be month by month. Yeah, within very odd execution. The last is sorry, it's not last. This is the result. So this is the result of the innovation that you are doing of the project you are presented. And of course, the last is additional information. Yeah, you need to include some photos, related document, video, and so on. There's it 10 point of the and the scorecard. We have scorecard. We have 4 level of the award: platinum, gold, silver, bronze. So if you have above 85, you have platinum. Above 75, you have gold. You above 65, silver, and above 55, you have bronze. Below actually no participant below 55 score, because we are agree with all leaders that no participant below 55, because all participant is the winner from in countries winner. Yeah. And we have auto calibration, at least 3 judges joining for panel. At least 3 judges. It should be at least 3. So we implement auto calibration for the award program. So what is auto calibration? Is majority. So if 2 judges have 6 score, so you will have 6 at the result here. Here is 6. If the majority is 7, you have 7. If there is no majority, something like maybe you have different numbers like 7, 5, and 6. So we have average. So this is because this is the total numbers 91. So you have platinum of this winner. And we have online interview, all online interview, 2 presenter, 3 supporting team in only online participant. And within the online, we have a timer, at least 3 judges from 3 different associations. So it's 3 different association. Yeah, we cannot have same association for the judges. The interview will be 45 minutes, 25 minutes for video presentation, 20-minute question and answer, and at least 5 minutes per judges. The schedule of judging within 1 hour, 1 day. So we have starting from 8 until 5 in the afternoon. So every slot we have 1 hour for each category. Employee judgment, business contribution, CX, the technology percent on operation. And that's all the announcement of our award program. Hopefully very clear enough about this. If you have any question regarding this, maybe you can raise a hand, and after that we make it available into YouTube, and also it will be available in our CC-APAC website. If any question, just give me. Chapman, you want to add something?
If I can add on, is Shenzhen is a very good place, not just for learning, but it's a good place for good food, a lot of sightseeing for the evening. So I'm sure you will spend so good time, time well spent in this week. So come to enjoy.
Yes. yeah, one minute to go to end this yeah, announcement. So if you have something, if not, thank you very much for joining us for this session. And good to see you in Hong Kong and Shenzhen for our program. Yeah, thank you and well done.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Thank you, team. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you,
so much.
everyone.
Take
Thank
photo
you,
together.
everyone.
Take photo together.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you're able to take photo together. Yeah. Wow. It's thank you, Kenneth. Thank you, Joyce,
Thank you,
Chapman.
Andy. Thank
Uh,
you, Chapman.
yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
Andy.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you,
Thank you,
Kenneth.
Thank you,
Paul.
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Aris, thank you.
Andy.
Bye-bye.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
bye. Masuk, masuk. Azannya masuk suaranya? Enggak kan?